I saw the video of Charlie Kirk getting shot in the neck, the kind of close-up one.
We refused to post that one, by the way.
We couldn't. Horrific. It's so horrific. And it's when you know someone personally, it's like another level. And I was like, Mom, but she's Turkish and Turks did this and that. And she's like, you are not allowed to hate people because they're Turkish. I need Americans to understand that our freedoms as Americans living in a sovereign country that's supposed to protect our constitutional rights, we are being totally steamrolled by a foreign country. How is that okay?
It's our greatest ally, Anna.
No, not our greatest enemy.
October 7 was an inside job. It was a false flag. There's no way the IDF allowed Hamas to parasail in.
Let's talk about that. How fair is it to me as a working class American to risk my life every time I get on the train? It's wrong.
Obviously, for many, many years, people, you guys got to bring Anna on. You got to confront her. Why is an Armenian working for a Turkish channel? And that's one of the reasons why you're here. But I mean, you could understand why.
Of course, I totally understand why. The left is going to be so angry with me for saying this, but it's the truth.
Happy Monday, everybody.
We get to say TGIM, huh?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, isn't it?
Live.
It's live, baby.
Yeah.
Before we begin the podcast, a couple days ago, a horrendous event took place on September 10th. And we'd like to at least give a very brief moment of silence to Charlie Kirk and the Kirk family. As you know, there's no words to explain what took place and what that family's going through. So very, very quickly, while everybody's live, drop a comment down below as a rest in peace to Charlie Kirk and his family. And let's give a moment of silence for him. R.I.P. to a legend, man.
Yeah. I mean, he's modern day, I think, Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah.
If not bigger.
We do have a special guest with us today. We will be diving into, obviously, the Kirk story, along with other current events as well. It's been a long time coming, but Ana Kasparian's here with us.
Thank you for having me.
It's
been a pleasure so far.
I hope you're not nervous.
No, not nervous at all.
First show.
I was nervous coming into it because I'm like, I don't know about these guys. Like, what are they going to do to me? But no, this is an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's a pleasure having you here with us. When we first heard about you, and we're going to jump into different topics soon, but when we first heard about you, this was a while back, and this was when you were part of the Young Turks. And somebody brought it to our attention. They said, hey, there's this Armenian girl, and she's part of this news organization called the Young Turks. We're like, stop pulling our leg. What are you talking about? Armenian girl, Young Turks? There's no way that's true. And they shared your, at the time, Facebook handle, and it was Ana Kasparian, Young Turks. And we were like, what the hell's going on here? So tell us really quickly, because that's one thing that we want to talk about, very short, brief. Why the Young Turks?
So I will admit that when I considered working there, the name turned me off, obviously, for obvious reasons. But I did my due diligence. I looked into it. Why is it named the Young Turks? In America, it has a different meaning, obviously. So there were various different organizations that had dubbed themselves the Young Turks. For instance, CAA, which is an agency representing various celebrities and public figures. They had a group of agents who referred to themselves as the Young Turks. None of them were Turkish. But in America, Turks means like rebels, right? Rebelling against societal expectations. Rod Stewart had a song titled Young Turk. You know that song that goes, how does that song go again? Young hearts beat free tonight. Yeah. So, and I looked at the website for the show and it explained what the definition was. I was still a little bit skeptical because the founder, one of the founders is Cenk Uygur. He's Turkish. But like me, honestly, he didn't know that there was an offshoot of the Young Turks in Turkey who orchestrated the genocide. I thought it was just the Ottomans, right? And he thought so as well. He kind of he liked the name Young Turks because he's Turkish and it means rebel in America. So I watched a few episodes of the show just to familiarize myself, to make sure I know what I'm getting myself into. And I realized it has nothing to do with Turkey. They never cover international stuff. Like, it's American politics. And I liked what he had to say, because this is in 2007. This is during the Bush administration. And I'm working at CBS Radio at the time. That place was so depressing because there was no critical thinking. There was no journalism happening, really. And I felt like what was happening at the Young Turks was what I was aspiring toward in terms of being a truth teller, holding government accountable. So I decided, you know what, this is a temporary 2-week position. They just need to fill in because their producer was going to go to Europe for 2 weeks. I'm like, let me just try it out and see what it's all about. And I fell in love with the place, to be honest with you, because one thing that I will say is, regardless of any disagreements I might have with Cenk, he really does foster an environment of open debate. And I did debate him multiple times on the issue of the Armenian Genocide. And he never held it against me. And in fact, he was willing to listen to what I had to say. And you have to keep in mind, I think Turkish people, and he was born in Turkey. He lived in Turkey until he was 8. That's when they moved to the United States. He was constantly in this like Turkish propaganda bubble, which I think informed his wrongheadedness when it came to the denial of the Armenian Genocide. But to his credit, he was willing to joust with me on this issue until finally he realized, you're right.
It's fascinating. In Turkey, a lot of the people consider the Armenian Genocide an event that took place.
You're right. Yeah.
They don't consider it a genocide. In fact, the history books in Turkey happen to leave that little portion
That's
out.
right. That's right.
So you have this beautiful encyclopedia of the Turkish history, and then all of a sudden the year 1915 is missing. So it's like, all right, hey, listen, we get this part of your history. Where's that missing book?
Yeah. And so when you grow up in an environment like that, where that information is purposely left out of the education, of the, dialogue in your country. And by the way, too, he's dealing with a lot of backlash from his own community about it, because I'm sure there are family members of his who are like outraged that he would have the audacity to acknowledge the Armenian Genocide. But let me just say, when I was in 5th grade, there was a girl, Tanya. I'll never forget her. She was a foreign exchange student type situation, and she was Turkish. And I remember once I found out she was Turkish, I bullied the crap out of her, to the point where I got called into the principal's office. The principal called my mom into the school. My mom takes me home. She picks me up, takes me home. And listen, my Hayastansi parents are from the old school, okay? So they believe in beatings, okay? I took a beating. I did. And I was like, Mom, but she's Turkish and Turks did this and that. And she's like, you are not allowed to hate people because they're Turkish, okay? That was the Turkish government. That was, the Turks of today, judge them individually, case by case, okay? And then she told me that during the genocide, obviously, there were terrible elements of the government, of the Ottoman Empire, the offshoot of the Young Turks called the Committee of Unity and Progress, I believe it's called. They're the ones who orchestrated the full-blown Armenian Genocide. She's like, obviously that happened. The current government of Turkey that denies the genocide, they're bad people, no question. But did you know that on your dad's side of the family, the reason why they survived is because there were Turks, regular citizens who didn't agree with what was happening, and they hid Armenians. And so that woke me up. I mean, I'm like a little 10-year-old girl, but that woke me up, and it helped me to understand the nuances of judging people, And so I was able to judge people on a case-by-case basis instead. Okay, so that happened. But Cenk denying the genocide in the beginning was really difficult for me. And I made a decision. I'm like, okay, what's my decision? To basically abandon this place and say he's a bad guy and there's no hope for this guy. I'm done with this place. Or should I try to persuade him? And I never get credit for this, and it's okay, but I persuaded him. And I think that's way more powerful than just saying that Turks are bad people, they deny the genocide, and we're done with it. Right now, we have literally the most prominent Turkish American talking about the genocide on a regular basis, especially in relation to what's happening in Gaza right now, because we talk about how what's happening to the Palestinians is a genocide. And he compares it to what happened to the Armenians. He brings it up. I don't bring it up. He's the one who brings it up.
Why do you say you don't get credit for it? Because from my understanding is you are the reason why he accepted the Armenian genocide.
What I mean by I don't get credit for it, people still have an issue with me working for a company with that name. And honestly, like around 2020, I remember having a conversation with Cenk, and he was like, maybe we change the name of the show. Which, by the way, that's a big deal. After your show's been established, it's been around for multiple decades. Rebranding it is difficult to do. And at that point, I was very defiant because I felt like the people attacking me weren't even necessarily attacking me over the name of the show. I felt like they were attacking me for my politics. And they were using the name of the show as an excuse. But the name of the show is the name of the show.
Yeah, I think they were attacking you because it went hand in hand together. Because they were like, she's a liberal.
Right.
And she's on her show called the Young Turks.
Yeah.
Yeah, because imagine somebody Jewish works for a TV station or podcast called the Nazi podcast, for example. That's how it came off to,
No,
to
I
the
understand
Armenian
that.
community.
I understand that.
Now that you explained the meaning behind the Young Turks, that it's more of the young rebels in a sense, that makes sense. But obviously, for many, many years, people were, you guys got to bring Ana on. You got to confront her. Why is an Armenian working for a Turkish channel? And so that's one of the reasons why you're here. But I mean, you could understand why.
Of course, I totally understand why. But if I was still at CBS, would I be allowed to do a 25, 30-minute segment on Artsakh? Hell no.
No way.
No way.
No way they would
way.
allow you to do that.
I covered Artsakh. I've covered the genocide. I have complete editorial freedom. And that Turkish man has essentially given me the ability to kind of like move up this media ladder, if for lack of a better phrase, and really fully be myself. And he has my back no matter what. No matter what.
How was the feedback from, like, obviously your parents, they're from Armenia, your dad,
right?
Very conservative, or even just relatives and friends. What was the response when they saw you on, was it first on YouTube or where was it back in 2007?
YouTube and XM satellite radio.
What was their reaction?
Well, obviously I talked to my parents about it before I took the job. I wanted their blessing. I wanted to make sure they were okay with it. My parents mean everything to me. If I have their blessing, I'm going to go through with it. If I don't, I'm going to say no. And they gave me their blessing. Like once I explained, this is what the name of the show is, this is what it means, they're like, they don't judge someone just simply based on whether or not they're Turkish. You know what I'm saying? Like they're very conservative, but when it comes to that, they have pretty open minds and they want to judge individuals rather than like lump an entire group of people together.
Where did you go to school, if you don't mind me asking?
I went to school for high school, I went to a magnet school that doesn't exist anymore. It's been like renamed, but at the time it was called Valuetainment Magnet, right next to Birmingham High School.
And then college?
College, I went to CSUN.
You went to CSUN. Interesting. Did CSUN have any sort of influence turning you into the left-leaning liberal you were at the time?
No, I swear it didn't. So when I was going to college, because I got into college when I graduated high school in 2004. Colleges I feel like they were different back then. They really were. I remember having a political science professor who was a full-blown conservative and was open about it. And it was actually one of my favorite classes because he challenged me, and I love to be challenged and I love to be a thinker. I didn't want to find myself in situations where it's like an echo chamber and everyone agrees with me. Like I wanted to think. So it was a different environment back then. I still time to time will go back to CSUN as an adjunct or as an instructor, right? And I'll teach journalism classes. And I start my journalism classes by basically telling the students, if you are sensitive, if you have difficulty broaching controversial topics, this is not the classroom for you. Get out. Like straight up, I tell them, get out. Because journalism, if you want to be a journalist, you are going to be confronted with controversial issues, with difficult issues, with nuanced issues. And if you are so delicate that you are unable to see these nuances and treat people fairly, if you're able to approach these issues with an open mind, this is not the career path for you, you know?
Yeah, back in the day when I want to say pre-COVID, because literally pre-COVID is like back in the day, a lot of people were walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
And then COVID took place and this giant divide happened between the country, I think between the world at that point, where everybody began to walk on pins and needles at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with you. Back in 2000s, early 2000s, the spectrum as far as the division of the country wasn't as broad as it is today. We don't really know what happened, but something happened politically where everybody began to pick one side. And now as time is going on, more and more people are beginning to come together in the center.
Mm-hmm.
And the super left are going super left. The super right are going super right. Eventually, they're going to fall off that cliff. But there's this group, a very large group, where they were right, they were left. They're kind of coming into the middle.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that we see this sooner rather than later. And this has a lot to do with platforms like the Young Turks, like the WiseNuts podcast, like PBD's podcast, like InfoWars, where people are allowed to speak their mind freely and aren't afraid of what is my boss going to tell me to say and talk about today.
Literally, the future of the country depends on it. Like, one of my biggest fears, especially after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, is that we're quickly moving away from liberal democracy, which is not like, conservative liberal. That's not what I'm talking about. Liberal democracy is the system of government we have now, right? Where you have freedom of speech, where you have freedom of expression, where you have gun rights, where you have the ability to engage in a democratic process. We're starting to move away from that because the extremes are essentially monopolizing the conversation and the debate. But I don't think most Americans are on the extremes. It's just that the conversation is kind of taken over by the extremes. And I didn't realize how extreme things had gotten on the left until it kind of slapped me in the face, right? Until it really confronted me in various ways. Now, if you take like where I stand issue by issue, I think I'm still pretty much on the left. But I think the dehumanization of people on the right has really turned me off when it comes to the extreme elements on the left. So, for instance, just today, I was on Piers Morgan's show, and we were talking about Charlie Kirk. I didn't agree with Charlie Kirk on pretty much anything. There were a few things. He had an issue with private equity firms snatching up residential real estate and pricing people out of the housing market. I agreed with him on that. He was in favor of paid family leave. I agreed with him on that. But, on a lot of different issues, we disagreed. However, he was never disrespectful to me. He always invited me to engage in these discussions, engage in these debates. And I loved it because it gave me an opportunity to talk to a completely different audience and make my case to a completely different group of people. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing.
It's funny you say what you just said. You said you still consider yourself left-leaning liberal, but you've come to, what was it exactly that you said? You said you were a liberal, but...
I mean, I hate labels because the labels come with a lot of baggage that I don't agree with.
The only reason why I say it is because we can say the same thing because we still consider ourselves right-leaning, but we've come to the realization that there's still dehumanizing people out there.
Yes.
Doing horrendous things politically, economically, where we don't agree with it. But going back to the left, the right, and the divide, there's a video I want to play very quickly showing the difference between what happened when George Floyd was murdered in 2020 and what happened when Charlie Kirk was murdered literally a couple days ago. Joe, can we play that clip really quickly?
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I
That was a Great Britain flag at the end. Yes.
You know, when I posted this clip on my Instagram page a couple of days ago, I had a few people reach out and they, well, you know, why are you comparing the two? I'm like, then what are we supposed to compare? An individual, George Floyd, at the time, you could say was murdered or he died because of an overdose. You can, I mean, obviously, whatever the officer did was out of line.
Mm-hmm.
But this man, 31-year-old Charlie Kirk, who had a different viewpoint than maybe you have, and he was literally assassinated on live television.
Yeah.
Now his wife, his kids, everybody has to see that for the rest of their lives, to see how their father was murdered because of his stance on social dynamics, issues and political views and all that. But people took advantage of the situation back then, burned down thousands of buildings, billions of dollars in damages. But now, again, I hate the left and right.
Yeah,
We're
me
all,
too.
like you said, the whole labeling thing I'm not a fan of because that's exactly what they want.
That's right. That's right.
It's a three-step process.
Divide
right?
and conquer.
It's first they create division, then they create chaos,
Mhm.
and then they control. So they've already divided us. Now they're going to create the chaos to even control us more than we're controlled today.
That's 100% right. And let me just say, both murders were despicable and both videos are seared in my mind and I'll never be able to forget them. I saw the video of Charlie Kirk getting shot in the neck, the kind of close-up one.
We refused to post that one, by the way. We couldn't.
Horrific.
We
it's
couldn't.
so horrific. And it's when you know someone personally, it's like another level, you know? Seeing the life leave you can see the life leave his body in that video.
Yeah.
You know, it's horrific. So point taken about the riots following George Floyd and how there haven't been riots on the right. But I will say this, there are definitely some pretty serious and specific death threats toward the left, even people who aren't like far left like me. A bunch of people have messaged me talking about how I have blood on my hands and we're coming for you. And it's like, what did I do? I didn't do anything, right? I don't at all support what happened to Charlie Kirk. I don't make light of it. I don't make fun of it. I don't think it was okay. It wasn't just. I'm so relieved that someone actually got arrested. I was terrified that whoever did it was going to get away with it because, it took a while to, find the suspect.
Joe, we have a photo of him, right?
Yes, we do.
So
Let me get that out.
I have never felt, there he is. I have never felt so depressed,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing somebody and seeing their passing. I didn't know Charlie. I had never spoken to Charlie. Neither, I mean, we'd reached out to get him onto the podcast, but none of us knew who he was. But me personally, I couldn't do anything on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't talk to anybody. I was sitting on my phone just looking at the news and just seeing reports come in. And, my wife was like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not okay. I really, I feel horrible. And I don't even know the guy."
Yeah.
Like it hit me in the gut. I think the last time I felt that bad was when Kobe died.
Yeah, I think so. And most people felt that way. But even in response to that, I had people commenting, like, why are you making a big deal out of it?
What do you mean? It was a political assassination.
Yeah, he's like, well,
it's a huge deal.
Why don't you post the thousands of kids dying in Gaza? I'm like, one has nothing to do with the other. I'm not posting what's going on in Armenia every single day. But this man obviously had an impact, a national, if not a global impact. A lot of the youth were influenced by him. And it's not like, and the influence was not, no matter which side of the aisle you're on, to me, it was not negative influence. He wasn't inciting, oh, you got to go kill people, you got to do this to stand for your right. None of that. It's just, he was a God-fearing man. That's what he preached. Now, what he did in his personal life or some of the comments he made, and this is the thing, people are like, well, you agree with him 100%? I'm like, listen, I don't even agree with myself 100%. I don't agree with my wife 100%. Why would I agree with a stranger 100%? No.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the values, some of the things he preached, I agree with certain things I disagree with, and that's we're allowed to do that. But today, if you agree or disagree with somebody, like you said, you're targeted. All of a sudden, they need to take you out because somehow you're influencing their actions.
Right.
You have no control over your own actions based on what I say. You're going to go out there and kill somebody. This is just my opinion.
The whole point of this country is to foster the type of environment that supports variations in political ideology, differences of opinion. You know, we don't live in a dictatorship. We don't live in North Korea where we all have to think the same or pretend like we think the same. And I'm worried that the things that make this country great, the things that make this country incredible, are going to be stripped away from us if we keep descending into extreme political violence. Now, let me just be clear. I mean, political violence was actually worse in like the late 60s, 70s. You know, there were a ton of bombings by leftist groups at the time. And luckily, the country was able to recover from that. But what was different then from what we have now is this whole online, internet, social media that's very vulnerable to nefarious actors intentionally dividing us.
Charlie Kirk was essentially murdered for having his own opinion on
That's
certain
right.
things.
That's right.
But the way he would have dialogue with people was, what is your opinion on it? And here's my opinion on it. We can agree to disagree, but he never hated anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was a very biblical and very God-loving person. And in the Bible, it says it, you know, thou shalt love thy neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the type of person where he never hated anybody. Yeah, you could have different opinions, as he said, but at the end of the day, hey, you be you, I'll be me, I'll be on my way. But he had a massive impact on the young crowd and the young voting turnout that helped Trump win this past election.
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true.
I really don't think Trump would have won if Charlie wasn't involved. From university to university, he was out there.
I don't know about that, though.
Oh, come on.
I mean,
Listen,
did you see who the Democrats were running?
well, I mean, hold on. I get it. Kamala Harris, yeah. I mean, who else were they going to be putting besides? I mean, Biden was practically,
dead.
I'm surprised he's still walking around, but who else were they going to do? Who else were they put?
You know, that's the other issue with the Democratic Party. You have all of these elderly Democratic politicians who refuse to pass down the torch to younger generations. Like, I look at the Democratic Party and I'm like, I don't like who inspires me.
AOC.
Okay, like, you know, AOC is, I think that there was some great things about her in the beginning, but she's totally been co-opted by the Democratic establishment. I like her insane cowardice when it comes to Israel. That's enough for me. That's enough for me. If you're not willing to vote no on taking American taxpayer dollars to fund a terrorist state, then I have no interest in you. It's that simple.
Have you been involved in a car accident? Don't face the aftermath alone. Armand Grigorian is your personal injury attorney who specializes in car accidents. He'll fight for compensation that you deserve. Call Armand Grigorian now at 818-404-0333. That's 818-404-0333. Our insurance company is giving you the runaround. Stop stressing and start winning. Public Assist goes toe-to-toe with the insurance companies so you could get paid every single dollar that you deserve. Fire damage, water damage, storm damage. Has a tree gone through your house? Public Assist has your back. Don't wait. Call them today. 818-242-0998. 818-242-0998. Do you think the Democratic Party left you, or did you leave the Democratic Party?
I think a little bit of both. I think I was blind to some of the things that were toxic in the Democratic Party. I have woken up to those things. But for me, look, I'm going to keep it real. There was a lot I was willing to put up with the Democrats, because what options do you have, right? If you're left-leaning, you look at the Republicans and you disagree with them on most policies. You look at Democrats and they purport to want to pass certain policies. They never fight for it. They never actually do it. It's all lip service. But once that genocide in Gaza started under Biden, and he was just a little bitch for Israel, I was done with Democrats. Because what are you going to argue? What are you going to argue? You're going to argue that, oh, we're the kind party. We're the party who care about the black and brown people, except for when, we provide the bombs to, blast them to smithereens in Gaza or the West Bank. Biden was atrocious as a president, absolutely embarrassing as a president. Okay. And for anyone on the Democratic side of the political aisle who argues, well, look at what Trump is doing with Israel. Look at how he's enabling them to do all of these terrible things. I agree. Trump is doing terrible things when it comes to Israel, enabling them to essentially bomb every single one of their neighbors, Yemen on top of that, Libya, Tunisia. What country haven't they bombed?
Well, they just hit Qatar as well.
Of course. A U.S. ally, by the way. We have the largest military base in Qatar right now.
Well, remember, they hit it just outside the base.
Whatever. I just, so my point is, Biden had the opportunity to leverage American support toward Israel to rein them in, but he didn't do that. He made it so Trump inherits the Israel issue. So the core of the problem were the Democrats. And if you're going to sit here and tell me, no, but they're the moral ones, they're the good ones. No, they're not.
If I'm not mistaken, if it was in 2016 or if it was in 2017, Trump had the state of Palestine and Israel sit down and sign a kind of a peace treaty.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, when Biden comes in, the Gaza war takes place. And then Trump inherits it and it just goes full blast. There's nothing left on that strip.
No, let's be clear here. In Trump's first term, what he did was he got the Gulf states to sign on to what's called the Abraham Accords, which basically normalizes relations with countries like, Israel and Saudi Arabia, for example, so they can have a business relationship. What that would effectively do is just erase the Palestinians. Because at that point, they have a financial interest in working together. Who cares about the Palestinians? Go ahead and slaughter them. Go ahead and steal their land. So part of the reason why I think Hamas did what they did on October 7th, and let me be clear, I'm always against targeting and killing civilians. That includes Israeli civilians, Palestinian civilians. It's immoral, it's wrong, okay? So let me be clear about that. But I think Hamas did what they did as like their final act of trying to resist. But their view of resistance has given Netanyahu the exact excuse he wanted to steal that land. Because he's not only going to steal Gaza, the land in Gaza, they're annexing the West Bank. They're open and honest about that. The West Bank has nothing to do with Hamas. The West Bank has nothing to do with October 7th. And they're not going to stop there. So all of these Arab countries, like Jordan shooting down Iran's missiles and whatever, they're coming for you next, Jordan.
See, hold on. I want to go back to October 7 very quickly.
Sure.
October 7 was an inside job. It was a false flag. There's no way the IDF allowed Hamas to parasail in.
Let's talk about that.
See, You talk about Gaza and Israel having security cameras all over the place, having IDF soldiers on every single intersection with machine guns. And all of a sudden, on October 7th, there's a music festival going on, and these guys happen to parasail into this music festival.
Okay, I love this conversation so much. Oh, I love it so much. Okay, let's talk about it.
Tell us how you feel.
Tell us how you feel with Atlanta.
So I agree with you entirely, and I have the receipts. Late October 2023, the New York Times, okay? It's not the Electric Intifada. It's not some random publication. The New York Times publishes a piece in late October 2023 indicating Israel had intelligence showing that Hamas was planning a terrorist operation in Israel, and they ignored it. They're like, Hamas doesn't have the capacity to do this. Okay. 2 weeks before October 7th, the IDF comes across additional intel indicating Hamas is going to try to invade and they're going to take hostages. Tell me something. How does the most neurotic government on the planet not take that seriously? That's strange. Who funded Hamas? Who facilitated the funding of Hamas?
I think it was Israel, wasn't it?
Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu facilitated the funding of Hamas. And then finally, all of a sudden, we're starting to have IDF soldiers testify on record. There's video of it. You can all watch it for yourselves. Look it up. IDF soldiers testifying that they received orders on the morning of October 7th, telling them to stand down. I just think Netanyahu is one of the most evil people on the planet. The Israeli government is one of the most evil governments on the planet because they are willing to sacrifice their own people on behalf of the Greater Israel Project. That's what this is really about, period.
I mean, they're the innovators of the false flag, right? Kill our own, make us seem like we're the victims, so it gives us an excuse to attack and kill as many as we need to.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of it took them 7 hours to respond. I mean, 7 hours.
Yep.
It's not a very big country. If like even Charlie Kirk mentioned in one of his videos when he was in Israel, he's like, every step of the way there were IDF soldiers, 19, 20-year-old kids with machine guns standing around. And yet on October 7th, I don't know whether Uber was not working. I don't know what the hell was going on, but they couldn't get to Hamas on time. It took them 7 hours to get to them.
It really makes me angry. It makes me angry for a number of different reasons, because those poor people who ended up getting killed didn't know at the time, and their family members likely at this moment still don't know, that they could have been saved, but they weren't. You know, that there are hostages that this disgusting terrorist government pretended to give a damn about. They never gave a damn about the hostages.
Well, speaking of hostages, the Israeli government has something called the Hannibal Directive.
Yes.
So I don't know if you guys knew about that. You know about the Hannibal Directive, right? So apparently 1,200 people were killed. Israelis were killed.
Mm-hmm.
But of the 1,200 people, again, I don't know what these numbers are, but allegedly that they're saying 800 of them were killed by the Hannibal Directive.
Yep.
Now, the Hannibal Directive is basically, if they're going to be captured by Hamas and they're going to be held as hostages, you take them out. You don't care who they are, whether they're IDF, whether they're civilians, it doesn't matter who they are. You take them out. No hostages. So now when you look at the numbers, again, it's horrendous what happened. It's terrible what happened. And again, Hamas is a terrorist organization. We do not support Hamas at all. But when you look at what Israel did and the IDF did and killed their own people in order to not have them held hostage, and that is the Hannibal Directive. You guys can look this up.
It's true.
You can't take that number and say that Hamas killed 1,200 people.
And you want to know why they don't want them to be taken hostage?
Go ahead.
Because when you have hostages, Hamas has leverage and they can negotiate. And it's dead weight for the Israeli government. They don't want to deal with that. Netanyahu is one of the most evil people on the planet today. One of the most evil people. All right, I'm going to reel it in because I was going to say something that's going to get me in trouble.
Well, you know what his real name is, right?
Yeah,
Benjamin Milkowski.
Yeah.
The Polish.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Just
from Pennsylvania, went to MIT.
Yeah.
He's disgusting. He disgusts me. Like, I loathe that guy. With the fire of
YouTube,
a million suns.
please, YouTube, don't demonetize us. It's just sad what's happening in Gaza because it's unfortunate that there's unnecessary killings taking place, and if you do not consider that a genocide, you are beyond blind.
Totally. Yeah.
You have no idea what the hell's going on because there are videos, and we posted that video. Remember that video we posted of what the Gaza Strip looked like prior to October 7th and what it looks like now? Dude, you cannot turn around and say that, oh, you know what, they're underneath tunnels and it's tactical missiles that we're shooting and it's targeted missiles that we're shooting. No, that is not. If that's targeted missiles, whoever is pushing that button is fucking blind.
Oh, these guys Mossad spent 10 years planning and implementing the whole pager situation. But yet, they're so tactical that they've killed tens of thousands of innocent women and children. That's how tactical they are. Yet, they could somehow manipulate. I mean, remember when even John Kiriakou was on our show, the former CIA officer, he's like, I have never seen a operation as complex as what they did with those pagers. But yet, what? They couldn't just attack Hamas. They couldn't find Hamas. They don't know where they are. They have to go bomb hospitals and, kids' schools, elementary schools, and all that, churches, because.
Well, look at what they've done in Iran, not just during this genocide, but in previous years. I mean, Israel has the capability to assassinate Iran's nuclear scientists in very targeted operations. First of all, I think it's wrong, obviously, to assassinate nuclear scientists in a sovereign country. But putting that aside, if they have the ability to fire some sort of missile or whatever weapon it is through a window and assassinate a specific person in Iran, you're not able to take out members of Hamas in the Gaza Strip. What are they doing in Gaza City right now?
Well, they're talking about underground tunnels that were built by Hamas years ago. And also they talk about, oh, you know what? Well, we don't know where exactly they are. So we're just bombing a certain area, hoping to kill the terrorists.
Right.
It's like
precious IDF soldiers, right? We don't want to risk their lives in doing special operations. We don't want to risk their lives in going into the tunnels, finding the Hamas terrorists. It's never been about Hamas. Guys, I want to be clear about that, and I want people to wake up to that reality. It's never been about Hamas. It's never been about Hamas. It's always about stealing that land. They're leveling the entirety of Gaza. They're planning on putting Palestinians in a concentration camp before they ship them out to Somalia.
Yeah.
It is the most unjust, disgusting thing I've ever seen, and it's all being bankrolled by American taxpayers. How disgusting is that? We as Americans need to stand up and say, no, look at our country. Our country is falling apart.
Well, how can you do that when you have the Senate and you have congressmen who have dual citizenship in Israel?
Bunch of pedophiles in Congress, probably. I don't know.
Which is another reason why when we talk about fucking release the Epstein files, we want to know who's in there. People talk about, well, there's no files. There's no flight log. No, dude, there's something there.
There's something.
And Charlie Kirk's murder that took place, there was, what was that bill that they were trying to pass? Or it was some sort of, the House was trying to pass something where they voted against releasing the Epstein files.
Mm-hmm.
It was like 51 to something. I forgot what it was, man. Joe, would we be able to look that up really quickly while we're...
Yeah, I'll look it up while you're...
I mean, even right after Charlie Kirk's murder, was it the same day or next day Marco Rubio flies to Israel?
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
And then they passed out...
Was his GPS on?
They pass, what was it about? Something about how you can't speak again, or you can't boycott Israel in any way as an American.
Right.
It's a criminal act. All of this, the day he gets assassinated, I mean, he helped you win the presidency.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is how you thank him for it? You send Marco Rubio to Israel to kiss that damn wall. And
I need Americans to understand that our freedoms as Americans living in a sovereign country that's supposed to protect our constitutional rights, we are being totally steamrolled by a foreign country. How is that okay?
It's our greatest ally, Anna.
No, not our greatest enemy. Israelis despise us, and I mean the government. They despise us. They see us as their pay pigs. Okay? They slaughter American citizens in the West Bank, American citizens with impunity. During this genocide, I don't know what the number is at this point, at least 6 American citizens who grew up in places like freaking Florida and they're visiting their family members in the West Bank. They've been slaughtered by the IDF. And our government, whether it's Biden or Trump, don't give a crap.
What's fascinating to me is why the other Arab countries are not getting involved. You talk about all these influencers and these media outlets on Instagram. One of them was called like PNN or something. I forgot.
Yes.
He goes around just filming people in West Hollywood talking about, can I get a free Palestine? Can I get a free Palestine? Listen, bro, I get it, the whole free Palestine thing, but where are all the Arab nations? Where are the Saudis? Where are the Jordanians? Mm-hmm. Where are the Egyptians? Where is everybody?
You know how much we bribe the Egyptians to play nice with Israel?
So why aren't these people helping them?
Because the governments of these countries have either been bribed by our country, let's be clear, or their leaders, their previous leaders have been toppled and some puppet government exists. What do you think happened in Syria? Why do you think America, the American government was providing weapons to Al-Qaeda rebels in Syria to topple Bashar al-Assad.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember what happened on 9/11? Which terrorist group conducted 9/11? I believe it was Al-Qaeda. I don't know if we can curse, but it makes me so.
You can. I'll give you permission.
But it makes me so angry. It makes me so angry that we armed Al-Qaeda terrorists to topple Assad in Syria. For what reason? For what reason? For Israel. Israel has already annexed parts of southern Syria ever since Bashar al-Assad was toppled.
Yeah.
Also, guys, I got the thing. It wasn't a bill. It was just a Senate vote, 51-49 on September 10th. That basically blocked the Epstein list to be released.
So that's what it was. All right. So it was a Senate bill, basically.
Well, not a Senate bill. It was a Senate vote.
A Senate. Okay. So but what was it though?
Just a vote. It doesn't specify if it was a bill or not.
And this happened on September 10th, right?
Correct.
The day of the
51-49.
What a
assassination.
coincidence. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that was convenient, wasn't it?
But I mean,
The entire world's distracted. And
you guys remember there was a clip from, I want to say maybe 20 or so years ago, of Netanyahu on a hot mic admitting exactly what you said, which is we can manipulate the United States any way we want. I don't remember verbatim what he said, but that's what he meant.
Yeah.
Is we can pretty much control them, ask them to do whatever we want. They will fight our wars for us. And that's exactly what we've been doing.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
it's just sad what's going on. And I hope people actually wake up and understand what's going on, because if our tax dollars are actually going to a foreign entity or a foreign country, dude, I mean, there will be a civil war that may take place because a lot of people are waking up from this bullshit.
They are. And look, the left is going to be so angry with me for saying this, but it's the truth. The left has been railing against what Israel's up to for a long time. And honestly, it didn't have as much impact as Candace Owens talking about it, Tucker Carlson talking about it. And I understand that the left feels uneasy about someone like me being willing to work with people on the right on this issue. But let me tell you something. I love this country, and I will work with literally anyone to get Israel out of this country.
But here's the thing. You're not doing anything wrong. You're doing it for the love of this country.
Exactly. Yeah.
When you see like the Bernie Sanders, the Chuck Schumers, those are all left-wing wackos as well. But when you look at them, you're like, all right, so Chuck Schumer, Jewish. Bernie Sanders, Jewish.
But Bernie Sanders, to his credit, is against Israel.
You don't know that until he's actually has a powerful position. I guarantee you this, if Bernie Sanders was president, as a Jewish man, you don't think he would support Israel?
I don't.
Come on.
I do believe. Look, he has been denounced by various like groups of,
I don't believe it.
pro-Israel groups in this country.
Believe it. I don't believe it for 1 second.
But
Look,
there
but
has
I will admit this. After October 7th, I wasn't too pleased with some of what Bernie had to say. I was actually a little bit surprised. So maybe you're right. I don't know. But in terms of our Congress, in terms of our Senate, he's been one of literally a handful of politicians who's been willing to tell the truth about Israel.
But see, the fact that you said whatever he said on October 7th didn't sit well with you. Now imagine he has power.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a different ballgame at that point.
It depends. Has he diddled little kids? Because if he has, then he's a done cause.
Has he kissed the wall? Do we have a picture of Bernie Sanders kissing the wall?
I don't think we do.
I haven't seen it.
Has any president not?
JFK, he was assassinated.
That's why it was.
I'm not saying he was assassinated for that reason. Some people speculate.
Well, I want to play that clip of. See, I hate conspiracy theories because there's a lot of people talking about Charlie Kirk possibly, potentially, allegedly being taken out by Israel. I haven't bought into it yet. I don't think he has. Yeah. But we're going to play a clip very quickly. This is 48 hours before his assassination. And you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen this yet, no.
Okay. This is him and Ben Shapiro debating on Turning Point.
Which is, okay, Charlie, we've pushed back against the media on COVID, on lockdowns, on Ukraine, on the border. So maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because I know I've been conditioned to ask a lot more critical questions over the last couple of years. So, Ben, some people would accuse Israel of wanting to ethnically cleanse. Some people in the Israeli government are saying, again, it's all over the place, right? You have opinions all over. In your opinion, what would a good outcome 5 years from now be, and how does one respond to the claims of ethnic cleansing?
So ethnic cleansing, the idea, presumably, that population movement is equivalent to ethnic cleansing. I think ethnic cleansing is a term that's been fairly recently coined to describe population movement during war. And the reality is that's been ongoing for literally all of human history. The idea that Israel is, quote unquote, forcing people out of the Gaza Strip, that is not the stated policy of the Israeli government. The idea is if people want to leave, they can, but they're not being forced to leave. Again, moving people out of heavily urbanized areas that are honeycombed with terrorist booby traps pretty much everywhere is not the same thing as, quote unquote, ethnic cleansing. And I think that ethnic cleansing is very often used as sort of a softer form of the genocide attack. The idea being that Israel is trying to kill everyone, which of course is not true. As far as your earlier question about what we believe from the media, one of the things that I find kind of astonishing in some of the folks on the right who are highly critical of Israel is actually the lack of the lack of skepticism when it comes to legacy media. Legacy media are radically anti-Israel overall. The New York Times can certainly not be accused of being a pro-Israel outlet. It'd be very difficult to make the accusation that the Associated Press, which has worked hand in glove with Hamas for years, or Reuters, that these are wildly pro-Israel outlets. And yet, when it comes to the reporting, it seems to be sort of.
Can you do me a favor? Can you reverse that video back to that cutscene where Charlie mentions ethnic cleansing, and it's both their videos at the same time, dual screen, and then it cuts to Charlie very quickly. I want you guys to see something and tell me if I'm crazy.
Okay. Charlie, we push back against the media on COVID.
Again, moving people out of heavily.
So maybe we should also ask a question. Is the media totally presenting the truth when it comes to Israel? Just a question, that maybe we shouldn't believe everything the media says, because I know
he has his papers in his hand, and then
critical questions over the last couple of years. So Ben, some people would accuse Israel of wanting
to ethnically
cleanse.
Charlie Kirk had his papers in his hand, and look, we've done post-production on this show. He had his papers in his hand, and all of a sudden there was a cut. Right, Joe, you saw that, right?
I saw him put it down slightly.
Yeah,
but
me too.
Yeah.
There was a cut. Look, they tried to clean that up as best as they could. I think when he talked about ethnic cleansing and the papers were in his hand and that cut took place, there was dialogue off air between Charlie and Ben that we do not know about. Again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but
it's speculation. But
it looks like he put his papers down. I'm going to just be honest.
I'm just saying.
That's my perspective. But what stood out to me in that conversation was wild. I hadn't seen that. What stood out to me was how Charlie Kirk was not like a scared guy when he was making his arguments. Like, he was very confident. He would make his arguments aggressively. What I noticed was he looked a little bit scared, like asking Ben Shapiro the question about ethnic cleansing, right? He seemed a little bit timid, a little bit careful.
Kind of like when PBD asked Netanyahu about the Armenian Genocide.
Yeah, but God, anyway, I don't want to get into that too much,
By the way, I wish you had interviewed Netanyahu.
Oh, I would love it.
PBD.
Netanyahu, hit me up. I'll interview you. I'll interview you any day.
Hey, we'll pay for that shit.
Yeah,
we'll fly Anna out first class.
I don't know if she wants to go to Israel.
No. You come here.
Yeah.
As long as you want to be interviewed, I'll sit down with you for 5 hours if you want it. Anything you want, right? I would love the opportunity. Make your case to someone,
Because to me, it was so disrespectful the way he just said, when Pat asked about
I just did.
the
No, you
Armenian
didn't.
and Assyrian genocide. He's like, yeah, I just did. Like, just.
And he said period at the end, remember?
Like, yeah, period. Like, stop asking me this stupid question. We're done with it. Move on. And
the worst part of it is both sides of Pat's family suffered from the Turkish Empire or the Ottoman Turks, the Assyrians and the Armenians. Dude, your dad's side no longer has a freaking country. The Assyrians do not have a country anymore.
I know.
And all was like, well, thank you for doing that for us.
No, he said, I thank you on behalf of the Armenian.
No, don't speak on behalf of the Armenians for that shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So let's talk about Vinny. Because look, the way Pat handled the interview, it is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and trash him over that. I would have handled it differently because I don't believe Netanyahu. I'm not just going to take, I just did, as enough after you just provided Azerbaijan with the weapons to slaughter and ethnically cleanse Armenians from Artsakh.
Yes.
It's that simple.
Are you looking for a place to kick back and celebrate? Well, the Glen Arden Club has got you covered. Upstairs, you got a private lounge with a cigar room. Downstairs, you got the Moose Den, where you can have cocktails and private events. Hey, are you even hungry? They got an outside pizzeria serving one of the best pizzas in town. If you're interested in becoming a member with the Glen Arden Club or booking an event, contact the WiseNuts. We'll connect you to the boys at the Glen Arden, and you could become a member here or host your next gathering. One thing that a lot of people don't understand is the weapons that were sold to Azerbaijan came from Israel.
100%.
There was an individual, and I'm not going to mention her name. She was watching our show, and she's been commenting in our comments saying, why are you Armenians so obsessed over this genocide? It's like, dude.
Because we are the product of a genocide. You know, it's so crazy because I didn't understand just how deeply my Armenian heritage ran in my blood until I saw the churches in Artsakh get bombed. And I'm not even deeply religious, right? So when I see those ancient Armenian churches get bombed by Azerbaijan, I'm not going to lie. I remember it was an early morning. I'm producing the show. I'm trying to figure out what we're going to cover that day. And I just started sobbing. And I don't know if it's something in our blood. I don't know how to explain it, but it was just this overwhelming, like something came over me.
Are you religious at all?
I grew up Christian. I moved away from religion, identified as atheist. I had something happen. I don't know. I don't talk about it too much because I think people are going to think I'm crazy, but I had a supernatural experience. I don't like to open up about it too much, but I don't know. I think there's something bigger than us, and I don't know how to explain it. It's that simple.
That's a start.
Maybe the guy upstairs, he's bigger than us, maybe?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, ask my husband, he's here. But basically one morning, I'll open up about it. Please don't judge me as crazy because it's real. It happened. I wasn't drunk. I wasn't like on drugs. It was early in the morning when I was on a run. Okay. I was exercising. Totally normal morning routine, get my run done, go back home, produce the show. And in the middle of this run, all of a sudden, I became overwhelmed with every single human emotion at the same time, simultaneously. Everything around me became very vivid, very bright, and I felt this like deep connection to all living things around me. And I just started sobbing. And I wasn't sad. It's hard to explain what I was feeling. It was like a really beautiful experience. And by the time I got home, I was still like sobbing. And my husband's like sitting on the couch. He's like, oh my God, what happened? What happened? And I was like, I don't know how to explain it. And I explained it to him. And ever since then, I've been a different person. There's like a level of empathy I have for all living things, all humans that I didn't have before. And part of it I saw as like a bad thing because there's like a fighter spirit that I feel like I lost. But ever since this genocide in Gaza began, I realized, no, I didn't lose that fighter spirit. I'm just a lot more selective and a lot more careful in when that part of me comes out, when that fight is actually righteous, if that makes any sense.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
So ever since then, I've been questioning. I think organized religion has a lot of downsides to it, which is why I'm like hesitant to say I believe in any specific religious doctrine. But what I experienced was real. No one has to believe me. All that matters is that I experienced it and I know it's real. And ever since then, I've been trying to understand it, make sense of it, and figure out where I land on, the question of religion.
I think you may be taking the New Testament, dissecting it for yourself, and kind of understanding what Jesus Christ was actually preaching will let you understand why you felt the way you felt.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about, and as you said, organized religion. Never follow the organized religion. You see all those evangelical kind of Christian organizations where they're sitting in this giant freaking stadium and they're like smacking each other's heads and one guy's fainting. No, don't fall for that stuff. That has nothing to do what real Christianity is. And I'm probably going to get shit for this, but hey, it is what it is. Follow the New Testament, understand what he died for.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll understand why you felt the way you felt.
Like, I grew up going to Armenian church literally every Sunday. I went to Sunday school every Sunday from, I don't even know how young I was. I was a baby till about 20, 21 years old. And Armenian church is like, I don't know what these priests are saying. Like, dervormia. Like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't know what that means. I know how to do the Armenian prayer and all of that stuff. But like, in terms of meaning something to me, like understanding it, I never really understood what any of that meant. So maybe you're right. I don't know.
There's a time period in everybody's life where they'll take it in and they'll understand what it is that they're actually reading, and being able to comprehend it at a certain age. That's when you'll be like, all right, you know what? This verse means something. This verse means that. That verse means this. And everybody looks at it differently. But it's.
But the issue is that it's difficult for most people to read and even understand what it's saying, to be able to interpret what it means. You almost need to go to, whether it's Bible study or Sunday church, so it's interpreted to you, explain to you what it means, so you could apply it to your day-to-day life. Because otherwise, it's challenging to just read it. Okay, what does it mean?
Look, there's so many podcasts and audiobooks now that
there's apps and everything
that'll break it down for you. It'll break it down for you beautifully.
But I opened up about religion to Cenk like very, very briefly recently, where he's a hardcore atheist. So he like shut it down. Like, he didn't shoot it down completely, right? But he just basically said, no, I don't agree. I'm an atheist. There's so much evil in the world. You know what I'm saying? And I want to make sense of it. And part of me also thinks there's so much injustice, like evil people get away with it. I don't know if Netanyahu and all the people orchestrating this genocide right now are ever going to see a day of justice in their lives. They're very likely in this world going to get away with it. And for me, I hope people understand what I'm saying here. I don't want to be overwhelmed with hatred. So I need to believe that there will be justice at some point. And so if I'm under this impression that there's never going to be justice, like in the afterlife, then I feel like that's when hatred starts to fester. If that makes any sense. Do you guys know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, I think about that too. I'm like, why were these people chosen to have that much power?
Right.
And why is it that every powerful person on earth is always willing to kill whether it's to grab more land, whether it's to have more power, whether it's to, and yeah, like you said, is there ever going to be justice for these people? But you know what I'm curious about you personally is, since you've been on camera for what now, almost 2 decades, right?
Mm-hmm.
Millions and millions of people have viewed you, if not some of on the Young Turks, you guys have billions of views over the last 20 years, since 2007. It seems like you've changed over the years, socially, politically, and even spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back, do you think like some of the influence you've had on the younger generation or even older generation, the influence, the impact that you've had back then versus now that you've kind of transitioned into different beliefs, like I said, socially, politically, and spiritually, going back, would you change anything as far as, I wish, this is not what I preached, and I hope too many people didn't follow my word and were not influenced by my stance for this reason or that reason? Looking back, do you have any type of regrets about that?
Of course. I have deep regrets. One of my biggest regrets was, at the time you don't realize you're doing it. It's not like I intentionally was feeding into the divide in this country, but I was. And it wasn't until I started waking up, around the time the riots were happening,
George Floyd?
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't fully waking up at that point, but I noticed a hypocrisy because I'm very self-aware. And the hypocrisy for me was, publicly, I'm supporting what's happening because I'm terrified to speak out against it.
Really?
Yeah. But privately, I was terrified. There were riots right outside our door.
But see, that's very fascinating you say that, because you mentioned CBS, right? And how you were kind of sheltered into speaking a certain narrative. You're open to talk however you'd like. Why were you still afraid?
I was afraid I was going to get targeted violently and harmed. That's what I was worried about.
By the left.
By rioters. They were literally, I mean, please don't disclose where I live, but like the area I live in is kind of like a main part of Los Angeles where riots were happening.
And there was riots everywhere in Los Angeles.
There were.
I mean,
I remember my husband, he was walking the dog one morning and he came back. He's like, oh, I don't feel good. I feel like really disgusted. I'm like, why? What happened? There's a T-Mobile store that he witnessed getting broken into in the middle of the riots. And it made him feel just disgusted. I don't know if terrified is the right word, but just, it was a sign of social order just kind of falling.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was scared.
One of our friends, the entire shopping center was burnt down, but he had a suit outlet in Long Beach.
Mm-hmm.
How long has it been now? It's been 5 years since the riots. He still hasn't recouped.
Boarded up.
No,
Boarded up.
LA hasn't recovered. I need people to understand that. LA, I remember when I would go on vacation, the feeling that I would get as the plane is about to land back home in LA, and I would feel so much pride. I love Los Angeles, love California. Now it's so dysfunctional. It's like there's trash everywhere. There's dysfunction everywhere. I mean, I had gone my entire life without ever seeing anything lewd or disgusting on the streets. I remember, I think it was 2023, I went for a walk and a guy gets off the bus at the bus stop, literally looks at me, makes eye contact with me, whips it out, and just in broad daylight, it was 3:30 p.m. It was bright as hell in the middle of summer, whips it out and just starts masturbating in front of everybody. And no one cared. No one cared.
Because he's a transient, probably. You can go take a shit on the street. You could piss on the street. You could sleep on the street. And you won't get arrested because, oh, you know what? They're unhoused. That's what it is.
It's crazy. Like what's happening in California is crazy right now. And by the way, what happened in Charlotte, North Carolina, with that Ukrainian refugee getting stabbed 3 times on the train. I'm happy that the right has drawn attention to that, because you think that's the first time that's happened? Yeah. That happens all the time. I remember in 2021, 2022, there was like a rash of stories involving unhinged people literally lighting people on fire on the bus in Los Angeles. No one cared. No one cared.
So Iryna Zarutska, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, was a refugee from Ukraine, got off work, working at a pizzeria, dude. Working at a pizzeria, got off work, got on the subway, sat there, minding her own business on her phone. Oh my God, man. It's so sad.
No, it's like the most depressing thing. Not only is her murder depressing, but also the fact that this guy has a bloody knife. He's walking up and down the train with her blood dripping all over the train. No one does a damn thing. No one cares. No one cares. It's so normalized at this point.
So here's what happened. When he stabbed her, he actually slit his hand as well. So the blood that you saw dripping was from his own hand as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
So when the video was first released, and again, we did not, there's something, for those of you watching this podcast right now, there is a reason why we don't post the gruesome videos in full context. Because as fathers, we can't do, we can't do it. We've seen it, but we refuse to post it. The Charlie Kirk murder that took place when he was shot in the throat, people were like, well, why aren't you guys posting that one? Dude, why would you even ask us to post that one? Or the Iryna murder. We posted the one where it froze. There was a freeze frame. And then the stabbing took place. Now, when you see what happens, he walks away from her, bleeding from the hand, blood dripping down. And he says, I got that white girl. I got that white girl. But when the full footage was released, there was people sitting behind her.
I know.
And they didn't do a damn thing.
I know.
They didn't do shit. And this girl was in shock, sitting there. She looks up. She looks down at herself. She looks around. And it's like she was literally waiting for somebody to come and help her. And slowly you see her soul leave her body. She faints, passes out because she's bleeding out, and eventually dies.
I know,
On that freaking subway. These are the people that you guys continue to elect in office. You guys don't understand that they don't want the best for us.
They're cowards. They care more about, lack of a better word, like virtue signaling, their whatever. Oh, we feel so much empathy for, I guess, repeat offenders. We feel so much empathy for people who have severe mental health issues, who should be institutionalized, but we don't want to compel that.
Yeah, and what's cute is when somebody kills somebody, right? Well, he had a mental illness, really. So
why was he on the streets?
Well, regardless whether he has what normal human being kills another person? So anybody that's ever killed anybody, they have a mental issue, right? Whether they're medically diagnosed as whatever, schizophrenic, bipolar, whatever the case is. Regardless, if you kill another human being, you're not mentally all there. So does that mean everybody that's ever murdered anybody, we should just let them go because they're a mental case?
No, that is a freaking excuse made by these monsters, bro.
The judges in this case, I mean, this guy had been in and out 14 times, 14 convictions. I think in these situations, the judges have to be held accountable.
Yeah,
well,
I
the
agree.
judge that
totally
that released him hadn't even passed the bar.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There was a story behind that.
To be fair to the judge, though, I didn't know about the bar. How is that even possible?
I don't
for him to be
know. That's what I was tripping out about. I'm like, wait a minute. How the hell is she? How is she a judge if she didn't even pass the bar?
So look, the thing is, the judge was making a decision based on why he was booked, and at that moment, he was specifically booked because he had a moment of psychosis. He was already in the hospital. The cops were there. He's in a schizophrenic state and kept calling 911 over and over and over again, even with the cops there. And so I guess the judge's reasoning was, okay, well, calling 911 repeatedly is not a violent crime. So I'll release him without bail, give him a date to come back to court. But I think the judge needs to take a look at the entirety of this guy's criminal history and take into account the violent crimes that this person had committed, including an armed robbery, which he ended up serving 6 years in prison for. Listen, I'm just sick of the excuses, because whether or not you believe, and I do, I think that, someone who's suffering from schizophrenia who refuses to take their drugs, they're going to have a schizophrenic episode.
100%.
And they're not going to be in the right state of mind. However, I do not agree with letting that person just be free to terrorize other people. They need to be institutionalized. Yes, against their will. I don't think that that's inhumane. I think what's inhumane is letting them roam the streets where they are harmful to themselves or to others. And it's not fair to people living in this country, usually people living in poverty or working class people who have no choice but to take public transportation. I have an option. I can drive myself to work. I don't have to take the bus. I don't have to take the train. But if I had to take the metro in LA to get to work, how fair is it to me as a working class American to risk my life every time I get on the train? It's wrong. It's wrong. I'm so disgusted with our politicians.
By the way, Levik makes actually a good point about why I think people don't respond in situations like that. I mean, you guys remember a couple of years ago, Daniel Penny, right?
Yes.
The former, was he a Marine or Green Beret? Well, he was a military guy who ended up choking that man in the subway, killing him. How much time was he supposed to do until Trump pardoned him? I mean, that's the other side of it. It's no different than, for example, you look at these laws, right? Especially in California or some of the other blue states. If an intruder breaks into your home, you do not have the right to defend your own family. You basically have to sit them down, ask them questions. I'm sorry, what are you here for? Oh, okay. Would you like me to maybe... I can make you some coffee while you go upstairs. And
Would you like an old fashioned?
Yeah, you want an old fashioned. I mean, and I think that a lot of people are afraid of that too. It's like, okay, if I respond, what's going to happen to me? But in this situation, he had already walked away. There were 4 people sitting around her. Somebody could have taken off their shirt and, wrapped it around her neck at least to prevent her from bleeding out.
Right.
Would it have saved her life? I don't know. I don't know the extent of the injury, but obviously she died from it. But if somebody had strapped something around her neck, it could have potentially saved her life. So,
my views on gun control totally changed.
Before you get into gun control, so here's the fact checked on it. So in North Carolina, Judge Teresa Stokes is not required to have a law degree or pass the bar exam.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
I'm gonna go apply to be a judge over there.
I'm dead serious. This is in North Carolina. So that's the judge that released him.
Tom, Dick, or Harry.
I have no idea, but
this
is what it is. I haven't looked into the full details of it. Levik, I know you're watching. You can fact check me as well, but that's literally what it just said. Here's the sad part of all this. When it came to the Ukraine and Russia war, America was up in arms, funding the shit out of Ukraine with our tax dollars again.
Right.
But when this poor Ukrainian refugee girl, 23 years old, came to the United States for a better life, she was murdered, cold-blooded, murdered.
Right.
And all of a sudden, the media is just burying the shit out of this story. Why?
Because of the racial dynamics.
Oh,
let's
is that what it is?
Let's just keep it real.
Now imagine...
and look, I don't care about the racial dynamics, okay? I've seen my fair share of unhinged, dangerous white guy. I got sexually assaulted by a homeless white guy, okay? This is not a race issue. This is a broader issue with how cities are being governed right now. Now, look, I think that it's not helpful when the right takes a story like what happened to her, to the Ukrainian refugee, and they make it about race, because once they do that, the left doesn't want to touch the story. I don't give a shit. I'll touch the story, because at the end of the day, what happened to her was wrong. But the broader issue is not a race issue. The broader issue is that we have legislators, lawmakers, politicians, political leaders who don't give a damn about us. They pretend like they're doing what they're doing in the name of criminal justice reform, but let's not make that mistake in believing them. This is neoliberalism. This is them wanting to cut funding to public services, because guess what? Going to court, that's a public service. Police, that's a public service. Prison, that's a public service. You think California shut down 4 of our prisons because they want to do criminal justice reform? No, they shut down 4 prisons because they don't want to pay for it.
Well, not that they don't want to pay for it. They can pay for it, but how are they going to fill their own pockets? That's what it is. All these politicians are getting wealthier and wealthier as time is going by.
They are.
And with inflation through the roof, hey, listen, we got to cut this, cut that, because Gavin Newsom has to be able to pay for his winery somehow, right?
He's so disgusting. Yeah.
So that's what it is. These politicians are greedy as shit. They want to line up their pockets, and they want to brush this mental health crisis that we're going through throughout the nation under the rug. That's what it is. It's not some housing bullshit, because if it was a housing issue, they'd build a bunch of houses, they'd throw all these homeless into them, and they would turn those houses into crack houses. That's what would happen.
I mean, that has happened, actually. There was a long-standing nonprofit in LA, one of the few nonprofits that's been around for a long time and was actually doing really good work. Really good work. Once the policy shifted to housing first, because that's a specific policy, they had no choice but to go along with that policy. That's the new law. So what they had to do was essentially take people, whether they have severe drug addiction, severe mental health, issues, and just park them into an apartment or a hotel room. Well, they would severely damage the properties, sometimes light them on fire, just completely wreck them. And guess who's responsible for paying for the repairs on those properties? It's the nonprofit. They went bankrupt. They don't exist anymore. Housing first is like the dumbest, most simple-minded policy ever. Listen, the mother who has 3 kids and escaped her abusive husband and is couch surfing with family members right now, that woman deserves an apartment, a place to stay, 100%. But let's differentiate, this is really important, from the homeless population and street homelessness, because street homelessness is different from people who need a place to stay and they can't afford it. Street homelessness, they have drug addiction issues, they have mental health issues, They need different services.
The homeless crisis is sexy, but mental institutions, it's not a sexy subject.
No, it's not.
That's why they don't push that. Well, we don't have enough homes. What do you mean we don't have enough homes? We don't have enough mental institutions. Today,
True.
you go to any psych ward, there's a 6-month waiting list.
That's right.
People are on the streets killing people or committing suicide because all you can do is go to a hospital. They'll put you on a 72-hour hold. Best case scenario, maybe if you really screw up, they'll put you on a 14-day hold, and then you're back on the streets because they have no beds available.
My best friend's a social worker. She tells me she has so many clients who are desperate for rehab. They want to go through detox. They want to go through rehab. When LA and other big cities moved away from rehabilitation and instead did harm reduction, you know what harm reduction is, right?
Yes.
Okay, you have an addiction. Rather than help you get clean, we're just going to help you maintain your addiction safely with clean needles, clean crack pipes, whatever. Okay, but what about the people who want to detox, who want to be rehabilitated, who want to kick this addiction? Well, there's no money for you. And so if you want rehab, you're going to have to pay for it out of pocket. What drug addict has the resources to spend all that money on rehabilitation? They don't. It's disgusting. What's happening right now is disgusting. And the left hates when I talk about these issues, right? It's the third rail for them. Because rather than accepting that they were sold a disgusting, inaccurate bill of goods, rather than recalibrating to do right by their fellow Americans, they double down. They double down. This is the kind thing to do. No, it's not. How many people have died because of your disgusting, stupid, well thought out policies?
Well, how is Karen Bass, Gavin Newsom, and all these corrupt politicians going to get rich? See, we had one of our local city officials here. Well, not a city official, but he was part of community development, head of community development. And we talk about all these so-called consultants coming in from LA to help clean up Glendale and Burbank and all these cities.
Keep them out of Glendale.
Dude, it's like...
They're not going to clean anything up.
They brought somebody from Santa Monica. They brought somebody from Santa Monica to help with Glendale. It's like, dude, what the freaking hell are you guys doing? Why aren't they going to Republican-run counties and bringing consultants from there? What's the reason why?
New York, they brought someone from New York.
Yeah, they brought somebody from New York to help with the bicycle lanes here in Glendale. But I mean, it's just, it's sad what's going on.
I will say this. I was totally against the bicycle lanes, and I still am.
Anna?
Hold on. I still am if they're going to take up an actual lane of the roads that are dedicated to cars, right? However, I've noticed that there's bicycle lanes now all over the place that do not take up a lane for cars. And I support it. You want to know why? Have you guys ever ridden an electric bicycle?
No.
Oh, they're so good. They're so good.
Because you don't have to pedal?
No, I mean, that's true. You don't have to pedal if you don't want to. I do pedal because I want to get some exercise. Yeah. But my husband bought me an electric bike. And I'm so obsessed with it. It doesn't go as fast as a motorcycle by any means, but it's one where you can kind of change the settings where it's illegal by California standards and California laws, and it goes pretty fast, and it's so fun. I love it. It's so fun.
We'll just pretend you didn't say that.
No, you have to try it. You're gonna love it.
By the way, Kevin clarified that why she was able to be a judge. He said these are state magistrate judges who are appointed, but federal magistrates are required to have a law degree past the bar.
Magistrate?
And be
judges? Freaking hell's a magistrate judge? This is Harry Potter bullshit. Joe, can we go to a commercial break and then we'll come back and we'll take some questions from the people in the audience?
Be nice to me.
Have you been involved in a car accident? Don't face the aftermath alone. Armand Grigorian is your personal injury attorney who specializes in car accidents. He'll fight for compensation that you deserve. Call Armand Grigorian now at 818-404-0333. That's 818-404-0333. Joe, do we have any questions from our lovely viewers? Please be nice to her.
Let's see.
Because we want her to come back.
Well, we had somebody ask whether you've left the Democratic Party, which we kind of discussed earlier.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a registered independent now. Yeah.
Oh, my wife will love that.
Is that
Yeah, my wife is like, at this point, she's like, I don't think I'm a Republican. I don't think I'm a Democrat because the Democrats are crazy. She's like, I think I'm an independent at this point. But I mean, she leans more right than she does left, which is, again, I feel that from you as well.
Really?
I do feel it from you as well. I feel that you have gone a little to the right, but again, it's like this center right.
Yeah, but the pendulum has swung so far right and left that we're considered center right at
Well,
this point.
when we defend the people in Gaza and we say that, you know what, Israel's committing genocide, they go, well, you guys are conservative. How could you guys not defend Israel? Because we're humane people and we see what the hell is going on in Gaza. That's why.
Okay, we got a question.
Yes.
I'm putting it up right there.
What is it?
Do you believe Zionism and democracy can ever coexist, or are they fundamentally incompatible?
I used to think they were compatible. I no longer believe that. You can't have an ethno-state and call it a democracy. That's it.
I mean, there are some, I guess, I hate this conspiracy theory word, but the fact that one of the reasons why Netanyahu did pretty much create October 7th, meaning allow October 7th to take place, is because they were trying to boot him out. And how else are you going to stay in power if you create a war, right? That's another theory that's out there.
Bro, the guy's been in power since God knows when, man.
For decades.
Well,
in
he's
and
been
out,
in and out of power, yeah.
He was in front of Congress talking to freaking everybody about, we need to go to Iraq and remove Saddam Hussein and his weapons of mass destruction. We're still waiting for those weapons of mass destruction.
That's his line all the time. It's always been, if we only take care of this issue, everything will be okay.
Well, yeah, then now it became Iran now. It's like, dude, you can't dick around with Iran, man. And we've said it before, and people gave us shit for it.
It seems like they can't dick around with Iran, though.
Well, we saw what happened with Tel Aviv.
That's
yeah,
true, but
it's only because we're backing them. If if Israel was independent and not relying on the US,
it wouldn't exist if it were independent.
Iran would take them out.
People need to do a lot of homework regarding how Israel was formed. And when you go back to 1948 and how the Palestinian people in open arms
welcome them, just like they welcomed the Armenians.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please come here. This is a safe haven for you. And then John Kiriakou brought it up. The Nakba took place.
Yep.
And when you look at the Nakba, what is it? Oh, it's the first ever Palestinian and Israeli war. Oh, but there was no Palestine. How was there a Palestinian and Israeli war? It's just sad what's going on, man.
My grandmother's birth certificate says Palestine. It doesn't say Israel.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. She was born in Haifa, Palestine, 1937. 1937.
Same, my grandmother.
Really? Yours as well?
Well,
what?
We already know Anna and...
Oh, yeah. You guys are... as they say, Khanami in Armenian, right?
That's Khanami.
You guys are. There's an intertwined marriage going on, family related.
We had a question about your thoughts on Second Amendment and where you stand with that.
I think that our Second Amendment rights are important, and I think we should have the right to defend ourselves. If we're going to live in cities that are not governed by politicians who give a damn about our safety, we should be able to protect ourselves. Yeah. It's that simple. I should be allowed to conceal carry.
And it's so sad that the left was taking what Charlie Cook said. I'm sorry, Charlie Cook. Yeah, Charlie Kirk. I said Cook. What Charlie Kirk said about the Second Amendment, and they completely took it out of context. The Second Amendment is to basically defend yourself against tyranny, and that tyranny is possibly the government taking over and completely taking over and becoming a dictatorship, as they would say. Charlie Kirk was for the Second Amendment, and people were saying, well, you live by the gun, you die by the gun. You see what happens when you're for gun control? No, that's not. He had always said that he's for the Second Amendment to defend against tyranny of the government.
I will say this. I don't buy the argument that we can arm ourselves with enough firearms to beat a tyrannical government. The government will drone strike the shit out of us. We're done, right? For me, it's very simple. We live in dangerous times. Our government doesn't care about us. There are threats against our lives. And I want to have the at least opportunity, the chance, the possibility of defending myself.
Look, if it ever gets to that point, God forbid God forbid it gets to that point. If it ever does, there will be, I would say, rebellion on both sides. There will be government officials who will rebel against. There will be armed forces who will rebel. It's, again, a God forbid it gets to that point. But remember, in 1776, when all of this was written by our founding fathers, it was a very, very, very different time.
Yeah.
And again, it was more towards possible Great Britain coming back, taking over, and America collapsing again.
Yeah, definitely. It was a different time. It's interesting because after I had a really terrible experience with a homeless guy sexually assaulting me, I would walk my dog with this like steel retractable baton.
Nice.
That's illegal. It's illegal in California.
Are you talking about the one that opens up? That's illegal?
It's illegal. Yeah, believe it or not, it's illegal. But
really? I thought they were selling it on infomercials here, no?
If you say it's for self-defense, it's illegal. But if you say it's a walking stick, you're fine.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yes.
So funny
my
story.
AR-15 is a walking stick.
No, don't talk about
So funny story about that. I mean, I don't want to have it in my purse and like I'm fumbling if there's a threat. So I just would walk with it in my hand. And so I'm walking my dog and there's like a little restaurant that I would walk by. And usually there's cops there. And a cop stopped me because he saw it in my hand. And he's like, hey, what is that? And I just like confidently pulled it up and I was like, it's self-defense.
Wow, that's
And he let me go. He's
You
like,
should have
"All right."
put some sunglasses on and just pretended you were blind.
It's hilarious.
We have another question. What are your thoughts on the Epstein list?
So I don't think that there's like an actual list. I think there are Epstein files that are certainly...
Or files, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It said files.
I think they exist. I think that there are a bunch of people who are implicated, powerful people, judges, politicians, disgusting pedophiles in positions of power in our government. And I don't know what happened with Trump after Netanyahu visited, the United States recently and had a talk with him because he kind of did a 180 entirely.
Yeah.
But I think it exists and I think there is a cover up and this is why we don't trust our institutions. When most Americans think that there's some sort of cover up taking place, they're not going to trust our government. And by the way, just to be clear, I do believe that Epstein was a Mossad agent or asset, I should say, not agent. I don't think he was part of Mossad. I think Mossad worked with him as an asset to do a blackmail operation.
Do you think he killed himself?
No, I don't think he killed himself. No.
Speaking of killed himself, did you guys see that clip I sent you when Tucker Carlson was interviewing it's Sam Waltman, the chat GPT guy?
That was so good.
When he asked him about, I guess, one of his employees who committed suicide, the way he asked the question, he's like, so this guy killed himself, but then somehow he dragged himself to multiple rooms and there's bloodstains.
That was a crazy moment.
That was an insane moment.
What's going on? Like, Tucker Carlson's been impressing me. Like, I don't love every interview he has on his show. Like, he has some people on where I'm like, I'm not interested in listening to this. But more often than not, he has some really fascinating conversations. That was one of them.
Yeah. Well, he's protected by the CIA.
Do you think he's really a CIA?
I think
Really?
he has to be. You don't that confidently just leave Fox and go out on your own. And his dad was CIA.
His dad was CIA, yeah. But like,
the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
but he runs his mouth about Israel all the time.
He could comfortably do it. He's CIA.
Okay. So, but do you think him doing that is part of some sort of CIA operation?
No. It's just him having this like massive power trip.
Excellent. Awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm not against it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I freaking love Tucker.
As long as he's talking about what Israel's actually up to. Because look, again, let me repeat it. The left can talk about Israel's nefarious intentions all day long. No one's going to care unless there is buy-in from the other side of the political aisle. So when you have Candace, when you have Tucker, when you have more and more conservative Republicans come out and say, wait a minute, this is not right, then we actually have a chance at changing the trajectory of this country. Because if we don't, this country's done.
Yeah. And it's thanks to platforms like theirs. Outside of Fox, outside of just mainstream media, the podcasts itself are the ones that are literally, I'm not kidding you, it's saving this freaking country.
Yeah.
And it's not only the right, it's the left as well, Anna.
Mhm.
It's everybody kind of coming together because it's coming to the point where it's no longer conservatives and liberals, it's good and evil.
I see it that way too. I do. I see it that way
It's
as
very
well.
it's very biblical, not to get religious, but it's good versus evil at this point. You want to ask her the question about destiny?
Well, you know more about Destiny. That's why I was showing it to you.
But I don't know what he did today.
Yeah, I thought maybe you would have.
No.
No.
Do you know what Destiny did today?
What's the latest
I don't know.
weird pervy thing he's done?
Yeah, I don't even want to give the guy a platform because he's a super weird dude. I mean, we've asked him to come onto the show once, but to be honest with you, I don't think I would even feel comfortable having him on because he's
very bad faith. I mean, I debated him today on Piers Morgan's show, and he was totally like mocking what happened to Charlie Kirk, mocking his wife. Look, even if you disagree with Charlie Kirk's political opinions, which obviously I had disagreements with him, human life is human life. And to like minimize what happened. And by the way, what that could lead to in this country in terms of like just everything devolving into political violence. It's just everything is a joke to that guy.
well, you see what the left has done. And again, see, we're so programmed to just point fingers at certain political groups, but it is them. The left, you look at what they're doing on social media, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, they're celebrating.
I mean, look at TMZ.
But it's not-
What
look-
happened at TMZ?
It's not the entirety of the left. Like that's the biggest issue I have with the way that this conversation is
But
happening.
majority is them, Anna. You have
Look,
to
I don't
admit-
know. I don't know what percentage, to be fair, and neither do you. But I will say there is a problem on the left, and they're the most vocal people. They're all over social media, and they're celebrating literal murder because the person who got murdered was someone they disagreed with. You don't believe in liberal democracy if you're celebrating the killing of someone that you disagree with politically.
Did you see what happened at TMZ?
I saw it. Yeah.
Do you think that it was the car chase, or do you think that they were literally celebrating? Because we have a video of it.
I don't know. Because
Well-
I would have to go back and see, like, was there a car chase? Was the car chase happening at the same
There
time?
was a car chase.
So
yeah.
Okay.
we have a video of it.
Okay.
And this amazing young woman breaks it down beautifully for us.
Oh, I don't need TMZ's cameras. There's nothing I love more than a good investigation, and I'm coming to you guys with the receipts. Exhibit A, the alleged car chase that they were watching.
Right there on the banner below, you can see it started in Temple City, and we saw that. Go ahead, Philip.
Well, I wanted to let you know that
1:43
President Trump has said Charlie Kirk has died. So that is the breaking news that we are likely about to have with ABC News.
Exhibit B, the giant clocks around their office. Exhibit C, don't worry, you won't have to do the math because I've done it for you. Timestamp, time. It is 1:07 and 15 seconds in the afternoon, with the timestamp on their video of 3 hours, 42 minutes, and 5 seconds.
For 3 o'clock in Utah time, which is 2 o'clock Pacific.
Exhibit D, we have the cheering starting at exactly 4 hours, 17 minutes, and 15 second mark, which is a difference of 35 minutes and 10 seconds. So if you take the timestamp
There's math
plus
for you.
the clock saying it was 1:07 and 15 seconds, add 35 minutes and 15 seconds, what time would you have? 1:43. So they technically were watching a car chase video. What do you think they were cheering for?
People in the back room away from our news desk here who were watching a car chase, and they were laughing, they were clapping, and you could hear it out here. And we want to make a couple of things clear. One is that I know these people, and they were not laughing, they were not reacting that way about Charlie Kirk's assassination. They were not. They would not work here if they did.
I think I totally missed it. So the timestamps don't match up with the chase.
No, the timestamps do match up with the chase. So when the chase was taking place at 1:43 p.m. Is when and you saw what was happening in that chase. Nothing was really happening. The car was just basically at 1:43 p.m. based on the timestamp of the car chase and the timestamp of when Harvey Levin announced
it.
that President Trump has tweeted out or truthed out that Charlie Kirk is dead. That's when they cheered. Nothing was going on in that chase.
Well,
Got
during
it.
the chase, even those newscasters announced it. That's what
Correct. But
They
no,
were
well,
watching the chase, and during the chase, the guy says, "We just saw President Trump
correct.
on Truth tweet that Charlie Kirk has died."
Yeah.
That's when they cheered.
So Harvey Levin's announcement, and then obviously the newscaster's announcement happened simultaneously. And it's sad that there are individuals out there celebrating somebody's death. He was a family man. He had 2 kids. And there was a video of his wife speaking about their daughter. And that freaking choked me up, man.
Yeah, no, look, you can hate someone's political views 100%. Doesn't matter. If you're an American and you're cheering on the murder of another American because of their political views, you don't believe in what this country is supposed to stand for. And, some people mistake what I'm saying as, oh, that means you co-sign to everything that No, it doesn't. It's not about politics. Like, separate political ideology or identity with just the fact that this is a human being who has not carried out acts of violence. Let's say we're talking about someone like Netanyahu, who's actually slaughtered innocent people, countless innocent people. We're having a different conversation. Charlie Kirk didn't do that. Charlie Kirk didn't kill anybody. He never incited violence. He engaged in debates where he would share his perspective, which oftentimes I vehemently disagreed with. Doesn't mean I want to see him killed. Doesn't mean I want to celebrate the loss of life. I don't understand. I just don't understand people, man. I feel like we're too far gone.
It's the evil people in the world instilling hateful things in other people's brains. And it's unfortunate that there's individuals who are over-medicated, overstimulated in today's society that feed off of this shit. Look at this one. A Virginia school board member resigned after posting this tweet. Call me old-fashioned, but I remember when we used to be okay with shooting Nazis. Dude, when evil people, and I'm not going to say left, I'm not going to say Democrats, when evil people go out there and they label individuals as Nazis, as fascists, as a threat to democracy, and there's unhinged people watching this shit, and you continue to pound it into their brain, what's going to happen is these unhinged people are going to retaliate. Our insurance company is giving you the runaround. Stop stressing and start winning. Public Assist goes toe-to-toe with the insurance companies so you could get paid every single dollar that you deserve. Fire damage, water damage, storm damage. Has a tree gone through your house? Public Assist has your back. Don't wait. Call them today. 818-242-0998. 818-242-0998. Are you looking for a place to kick back and celebrate? Well, the Glen Arden Club has got you covered. Upstairs, you got a private lounge with a cigar room. Downstairs, you got the Moose Den, where you can have cocktails and private events. Hey, are you even hungry? They got an outside pizzeria serving one of the best pizzas in town. If you're interested in becoming a member with the Glen Arden Club or booking an event, contact the WiseNuts. We'll connect you to the boys at the Glen Arden, and you could become a member here or host your next gathering.
The reason why I've never referred to Trump, for instance, even when I had like severe TDS, the reason why I never referred to him as a Nazi is because think about what you would be willing to do to stop a Nazi.
Yeah, there's talks about people going back in time to kill baby Hitler.
Yes, that's true. That's true. But like, if I genuinely believe someone was a Nazi, I would stop at nothing to stop them, right? So just stop for a second, ask yourself, do I actually believe what I'm about to say? And what are the repercussions for what I'm about to say?
But when Anna, they continue to beat it into the media and people just watch it over. And how many times did Biden call Trump a Nazi? Or a threat to society or democracy? Constantly.
Oh, yeah.
You had Congress women and men, House representatives, men and women, continuously say he's a threat to democracy. He's a Nazi. He's this. And if you keep saying it over and over and over again, people are going to believe it.
So let me ask you something just to push back a little bit, because I've already accepted that Trump is who he is, and I don't look to him for leadership. I don't. I'm just keeping it real. Okay. The man is very irresponsible with his rhetoric. And he doesn't know how to find ways to turn the temperature down, bring people together, because right now we're in a very delicate state. And this could devolve further into additional violence. And I don't want more people getting hurt. He has not toned his rhetoric down at all. And in fact, today when I was debating Destiny on Piers Morgan's show, he kept saying, like, why should I turn the president of the United States isn't turning the rhetoric down. He isn't turning the temperature down. Why should I? My take is I don't need to wait for the president to make a decision about my own behavior. I'm going to behave the way I feel is appropriate and what's best for the country. So I don't really have a lot of faith in Trump, like, finding a way to turn the temperature down. But at the same time, I do think it's a problem when, our leadership feeds into the divide, feeds into this like virus we have in the country that's tearing the country apart. And I get it. It takes a much bigger person to turn the temperature down, to try to find ways to bring people together. That's a lot harder to do than to feed into your instincts. Your instinct is to feed into the hate, the anger. And I don't begrudge anyone for being angry over what happened to Charlie Kirk. But we're hungry for leadership in this country. We really are. And a leader does what's difficult and doesn't feed into their primal instincts.
Yeah, his ego won't allow it, Anna. His ego will not allow it. Because remember, he's not your typical politician.
No, he's not.
He is a businessman turned politician and hate him or love it, he was a very successful businessman in New York. The guy owned multiple businesses and real estate properties. So he made billions of dollars doing what he did. And that comes with a very big ego.
Yeah, big ego and a certain set of leadership skills that aren't necessarily useful in the Oval Office. You get what I'm saying?
It's different. He's going in there with a completely different mentality, looking at it as a corporation, which technically is. The United States is a very large corporation, but he's running it a little bit differently than your typical politician would.
I think the only areas where his leadership is evident is, for instance, when he had some of the European Union members at the Oval Office, at the White House. And I can't imagine, for example, Kamala Harris or Biden having that type of sit down in an actual conversation where, okay, how do we resolve the war in Ukraine? Is it resolved yet? Absolutely not. But the fact that he's able to do that, but as far as socially, yes, he's lacking it because whether it's his narcissism or his ego, something's keeping him from, like you said, this is a perfect time for him to unite the country together. I mean, the last time we had this opportunity, which we did, was 9/11. And now you have the opportunity to do that. This is, again, I go back to the whole MLK assassination, because to me, this is just as big, if not bigger. Back then, obviously, there was no social media. But today, the whole world is talking about it. They're holding, vigils in all over the world for Charlie Kirk. And yet, our president really hasn't done much yet.
Yeah, it's a good point. I hadn't thought about that, actually. I don't know. We are lacking in leadership for sure. And I remember the day after Charlie Kirk's killing, I was on a CNN panel and I was sitting next to a Republican congressman from Texas. And like right off the bat, he had fiery rhetoric, lunatic left, just basically directing more hatred against Americans, one political group. And again, to the point, once you kind of wake up from the fakeness of this like political binary of left versus right, and you kind of see things more clearly as good versus evil, it just like disgusts me to hear politicians feed into rhetoric that intentionally divides ordinary people in this country.
You can't have a double standard when you're a politician.
Yeah.
You can't go after Zelensky and make fun of his little outfits, his little jumpsuits, but then not turn around and blame Netanyahu for the genocide that he's
100%,
committing
100%.
in Israel, in Gaza. There can't be a double standard. If there's a double standard, that means, hey, listen, somebody's taking it in the butt. I don't know who is, but somebody is.
Can I ask you something as a man of faith? When you see our Christian politicians put the yarmulke on and pray at the wall, how does that make you feel as a Christian?
They're not Christians.
Yeah, I'm not even Christian. Like, and it pisses me off
Uh,
because it's just like your faith. You're not actually sincere in your faith.
Would they do that?
No.
Would somebody from Israel come here? Would
Never
take
in a
them to-
million years. What do they think about Jesus? Where's Jesus right now? Is he drowning in excrement, according to the Talmud?
So for those of you watching, and you guys could fact check me on this one, the Jews are still waiting for their Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
They said that when they build their temple in the Holy Land, that's when
It's
he'll
going to
come.
start a world war. By the way.
So they were exiled from their land. They need to go back to their land and build their temple. Well, they went back to their land in 500 BC. They built their temple in 200 BC, and their Messiah came, but they killed him. That's the fact behind it. But I don't know what it is about these Judeo-Christians, these evangelical Christians, and these Mormons, where they're so adamant about, Jews being the chosen people. I don't know.
But what happens to the Jews in the second coming of
you have
Christ?
You have to convert. You have to
convert, or else what happens? What happens to the Jews?
They'll be going somewhere. They'll be meeting somebody else.
Sounds like a pretty disgusting relationship, no?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. But they'll be meeting somebody else. And again, I'm not the one to judge. Only the man upstairs can judge. None of us can. And when that day comes, there'll be people there's people. A lot of people have a lot of answers to give. But do you want to play that video, or do you want to go to another ad before we?
I think that we should play that video with his wife's speech.
All right. Just don't put the camera on me.
Oh, okay. Why? You're gonna?
Yeah, bro.
When I got home last night, Gigi, our daughter, just ran into my arms. And I talked to her and she said, "Mommy, I missed you." I said, "I miss you too, baby." She goes, "Where's Daddy?" What do you tell a 3-year-old? She's 3. I said, "Baby, Daddy loves you so much. Don't you worry. He's on a work trip with Jesus, so he can afford your blueberry budget."
Rest in peace.
Oh man.
That 3-year-old is not going to remember her father. Like, it's really messed up. It's really messed up.
And she's going to know exactly what happened.
Yeah.
She's going to see it forever. That's because it obviously was not normal death. It's televised. Everybody's talked about it. Everybody will continue to talk about it. It's always the children that are most affected. I mean, today we were at a we lost a friend of ours last week, and we were at his services today, and his 2 kids were there, and that's what obviously the loss of a friend was tragic for us. But when you see the kids, and those kids no longer have a father now. They're going to grow up without that guidance, without the influence. And that's what I used to always do. When people lose somebody, right, a loved one. I lost my father when I was 41 years old. But it's easier to deal with it because at that point, I already had kids myself. I was a father. So my kids, my life's purpose at that point were my kids. My father, my mother, they're, brothers, sisters, they become your secondary family once you're married and you have kids. They're no longer your primary family.
Right.
Your primary family, your wife and kids, your husband and your kids. So I was able to deal with it because I was older age. All the influence that he had on me was already there. There was no more influence that he could technically have on me after 40 or after whatever age, right? But these kids are babies. They're just learning what the meaning of a father or a mother is, and boom, it's taken away for what? For nothing.
You know, the shooter apparently told family members that he didn't like Charlie Kirk because he spread hate. I mean, what does he think he's spreading?
Yeah.
You rob those kids of a father. You rob that woman of a husband who she planned on growing old with, raising children with. It's just a disgusting injustice. And we've allowed political differences to infect our brains into dehumanizing people. And I'm against it.
Those kids are going to grow up without somebody to validate what they want in life.
Mhm.
Like you talked about your dad and your mom off air, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how even on air, when you went to your parents and asked them, hey, listen, I'm going for this position, you seeked validation from them.
Right.
Like, what's your relationship with your father like as a woman?
Pretty good. Me and my dad are pretty much the same person, which I didn't realize until my husband confronted me about it. He's like, you and your dad butt heads, but you guys are the same person. I'm like, oh yeah, we kind of are.
It's mimicking and matching your parents. And that tells you a lot about the type of individual he is and the influence he had in your life and how you looked up to him. And in essence, as you grow up to, become a woman, you idolized him and you mimicked and matched everything that he did. And I'm sure he's hell proud of you. But I mean, these kids aren't going to have that.
I know. Yeah. I mean, I think about my childhood, those special moments with my dad. My dad was such a hard worker. He'd come home late, but I would stay up and he would come with smoked fish and he'd be like, Yalla, ari chai khameng. Yeah. Some smoked fish from the Russian market, whatever. And we'd have little smoked fish sandwiches with tea. Those kids are going to be robbed of these kinds of memories with their father, their own father. It's just wrong. And to celebrate it, it makes you look like such a piece of crap. You are a piece of crap if you're celebrating it. You don't value human life. You're not a good person.
No, that's an understatement.
I know.
Piece of crap is an understatement.
Let's end it on a brighter note, at least. We talked about a lot of...
Yeah. Let's end it on a brighter note, seriously. But, congratulations. You are married, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I know in previous posts and in the past, you've mentioned something about not wanting children.
Let's not get into that.
So...
You're on an Armenian podcast. You don't think we're gonna
I know.
with dads, with dads. So listen, everybody knows your husband online, right? I could mention his nationality.
Yes.
So Cubano, Cuban guy. Cubans and Armenians, they'd make beautiful babies. I'm just saying. Are you on the fence of having children, not having children, or are you? At this point, has he convinced you that, hey, listen, we want to bring some babies into this world?
He's more against it than I am.
Are you serious?
Come on.
Okay, look, he just gave a confused face.
Don't do that. No, what we just saw from Charlie Kirk's wife is the type of composure that I do not have when it comes to my family. And I'd be out for blood. I wouldn't care. I would slaughter.
Well,
I would.
That's motherly instinct.
I don't think I'm a good fit
to nurture
for a mom.
and to care.
I would be an excellent mom. I would be nurturing. I would be caring. Anyone touches a hair on my child's head, I will kill them.
But that's normal.
I don't know if it is. No, you don't know. I have my mom's temper.
In the comments, please.
I have my mom's
in the comments, please comment. What would you do if somebody touched a hair
you guys
on
are
your
inciting
child's
violence now.
head? Oh God, seriously, we are. Don't comment.
I remember my mom when I was in 4th grade, she was picking me up from school and I was like standing on the corner waiting for her to pick me up. And a group of boys from my 4th grade class walked by and slapped my butt as my mom was making a left to come pick me up from the corner. She saw it. She parked her car literally in the intersection. I'm not exaggerating. And keep in mind, this is the 90s, so it was a different time in America. Parks her car in the middle of the intersection, comes out, paitov, okay? She always had like a rolling pin in her car to like basically threaten us with it. But at that point, she's like, oh, this will actually come to good use. And she starts chasing the boys with the freaking rolling pin to beat their asses.
Nice.
Okay, that's the kind of person I am too. I have her temper. I end up in prison. This world scares me to death. And like the idea of having like my literal beating heart outside of my body and I can't fully control what happens to them scares the hell out of me. I can't do it.
You really don't want any
I
children.
can't do it. I can't do it. I can't.
So that's the reason why you're afraid of society today. But you
Of course.
You don't want to leave some sort of legacy behind as far as what you have done and instill the right morals, the right values, and the right principles into your child. Because look, good people, Charlie Kirk has said this, good people need to make babies and expand their families. And where your head is at right now and where you're going in your, I don't want to say political career, but in your media career and what you're doing today, I think you need to instill those values into little ones. Little Annas.
I think you guys are going to have a serious conversation tonight. They're going to be sitting down over a glass of wine. Maybe we should reconsider it.
Think about it. Again, this is just, we're not here to be therapists or anything, but
I thought you were a magistrate therapist.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can't. I literally have to go home and look it up now. Jeez. Great, good people need to make good people and bring babies into this world and educate them, instill the values, instill the morals.
Look, if it happens, you guys got to hit me up with those real good Armenian lawyers, okay, for when I assault people for hurting my kids. Okay?
Oh, we know a bunch of them. They've been on our show before, so don't even worry.
Yeah,
don't worry about that. That's the least of your worries.
Half the attorneys in LA follow us, so don't worry. We got your back.
Definitely.
But as far as what you're working on, so you're still on the Young Turks,
Yes.
and now you also have a show under the Valuetainment umbrella called Her Take, which you have 4 other women. Or 3?
3 other women. Jillian Michaels is the lead moderator / host. Amy Dangerfield, who's like from the Valuetainment network. I love her so much. She's great. And then Lindy Lee, who was a longtime Democratic fundraiser. She and I butt heads quite a bit.
You should ask her about us. When
Why?
You see her, we'll tell you.
Is that an off-air thing?
That's an off-air thing.
Okay.
We're gonna have her. We're gonna have her on the show.
Okay.
We're gonna have her on the show.
But to her credit, like we've found our groove together.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
But
as
how
long as it's not like The View.
How is it? I was gonna ask you, how is it with all that, like the
estrogen,
the energy as far as
I got more estrogen from Adam than I did from those ladies. Keeping it real. Who walks around with a tampon in their pocket?
He actually had a tampon in his pocket.
He had a tampon in his pocket, ready to go during a debate about Israel. Yep.
God, I would love to have Adam.
He's been hanging out with Tim Walz too much. Tampon Tim.
Tampon Adam.
But I mean,
and you guys do that you air it every Friday, or?
I don't know exactly when they publish it, but we tape it usually. Sometimes we go live. Since it's in Florida and me and Jillian are from out of state, we visit Florida once every other week and film 2 episodes in one
sitting.
Yeah.
Oh,
so change of outfits, change of topics.
Oh yeah. But I like it. I mean, it's been one of the more challenging things I've had to do because obviously everyone on the panel has a different perspective. None of us agree on everything. So,
but Jillian has shifted too over the years.
Yeah, Jillian's definitely more, I mean, I think you can call her a Republican at this point, for sure. I'm not there. So she and I have our disagreements. She's definitely a defender of Israel. I think that's the biggest, area of disagreement. And it's been challenging at times, definitely. Lindy Lee, though, to her credit, was fully on board with Israel. And then a few episodes ago, on air, again, to her credit, because this is rare, she's like, Anna, I was wrong. You were right about Israel. And I just want to apologize to you. And I was like, Lindy. Whoa. After that, I grew
Takes the foreigners, man.
It took a certain level of courage to say that. Not a lot of people are willing to admit they were wrong. So after that, I grew a certain level of respect for her that I previously didn't have, just keeping it real.
Nice. It's the non-white people realizing that Israel's a problem like that.
That is kind of true. Yeah.
I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying. Anna, we're glad we made this work.
Thank you.
We appreciate
this was so fun.
We appreciate you taking time to be here with us.
Time out of your Monday. You could say that. Actually.
We appreciate you taking time out of your Monday because it's not pre-recorded, people. It's live. We decided to go live today.
Can I just come by and hang out?
Hell yeah, dude. Are you kidding me?
Anytime.
This place is great.
You and
so
your
much
husband, you guys are welcome anytime here.
Thank you.
We definitely want to have you back in the near future because it's very refreshing to have a female's perspective, especially your perspective, because you've accomplished so much, and we're very proud to call you an Armenian, and everything that you've done for our community, voicing the Armenian genocide on a Turkish, or not a Turkish, but on the Young Turks, and bringing Cenk to reality, and him accepting what happened. Dude, it's a massive accomplishment, and
Thank
we're
you so
very, very
much.
proud of
And
you.
let Cenk know we would love to have him on as well.
Definitely. He would love it. He actually would. He would. Yeah, I think you guys would enjoy talking with him, to be honest.
We'll talk about that off air as well,
Okay.
because the conversation has taken place.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
All right.
guys, today's episode. Oh, before we go, wisenutspodcast.com. All of our merch is available. Our new shirt, Epstein Didn't Kill Himself, is available as well. Hey guys, it's under $30. It's under $30. Don't buy a Crappuccino. Go buy a shirt. It's support the Wise Nuts.
One day Starbucks is gonna.
I didn't say Starbucks. I said
One day
Crappuccino.
we're gonna get a cease and desist letter from them.
I just said
Stop calling it Crappuccino.
Well, it's a Crappuccino, bro. You take
don't
it, and then
disagree.
15 minutes later, it's crap. That's what it is. Epstein Didn't Kill Himself shirt is available. Wise Nuts throwback shirts are available. A lot of other merch is available as well. Buy a shirt, support the Wise Nuts. And today's episode, well, I was going to say up and running on Spotify. Well, it is. It's going to be up and running on Spotify tomorrow. And then we'll have a re-edited version of this rerun on YouTube on Wednesday. That being said, have a great week. Have a great weekend. And we've got some other great surprises coming to you guys very soon.